Hi, welcome back to the Honest Latina Ever. Today's segment is going to be a little history lesson on politics and on where we're going with a lot of this stuff. I've been very watchful over a group that is emerging quite violently, and their name is Antifa. And they have the name Ant inside of that name. And I really am interested in where they're coming off as calling Mr. Trump a fascist and basically a racist and everything else. And I think, that every party has to have their group of useful idiots. And I think the party elites just kind of tolerate these useful idiots in order to do their work. But the ultimate control is central governments. And we understand that central governments are preferable to the monarchs in power, because the monarchs love the fact that people are under control and that they feel it's best that they decide how to use the money. And so the way it works is the puppeteers are the people at the very, very top, and then you have your governments, and then you have your masses of people to do the bidding. And then you have your paid politicians as well. And where Trump falls in is he's kind of, in his job, thinking he's working for the people. Really, are we really working for the people? I mean, basically what we're doing every 8 years is they're making some progress, we roll it back. And then the other side makes a little progress and we roll it back. And then we end up in the same place we started when we began. So government moves very slow on purpose. It is not for the people. It's for the people at the very, 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 very top. And they use these different groups to scapegoat them, like the Tea Party people. The real elites do not like the Tea Party people. They absolutely hate them. And actually the Tea Party people are waving their little bags and saying no taxes, and they're branded as racist, just like the Antifa movement. But basically they're waving their little bags so the very rich can have their cake and eat it at our expense. Neither side is perfect. I prefer to have free markets and live in a place where there's job creation and abundance of jobs than just having government control. So we have to have that balance. But if you're going to pick each side, you want to pick the less of two evils. I mean, I think that the way our Republican Party is moving is they were moving towards the socialism too. So with that said, Trump comes along and he is not from the establishment. He is of his own guy. He comes in there and he mixes everything up, and it's making everybody really pissed off, because what happens is they have a little bit of their pieces of the pie interrupted. These people that were having their cake and eat it too now are having to pay a little bit more money for the socialism that was taken over. They don't like that. These people don't want to pay anything. They rather make us little people who make very little money pay for all the socialism. In fact, that would be how they want it. They want us to be just as poor as the poor people that we're socializing or we're taking care of. So they can have the cake and eat it too. It's not about job creation. It's about these people keeping more money in their pockets. So to do the tax cuts is not helping the 1% like the Democrats want you to believe. It's basically putting more money in the pockets of people that are making under $25,000. I mean, if you're making under $25,000, you shouldn't have to pay a freaking dime. I mean, seriously. And those people that actually are not paying into it, that are collecting the food stamps and stuff, that should be on a limited time only. You shouldn't be getting paid to have kids. You shouldn't be getting paid if you're an illegal alien. You shouldn't be getting paid, period, if you're from out of the country and you're on a temporary visa. You shouldn't be getting any government subsidies whatsoever. One of the things that people fail to understand is the whole thing about if you disagree with their ideology, which is bothly twisted on both sides of the party, that you're a racist. Well, these elites love to make people out to seem like they're racist. If you don't agree with anything they like or want, you're instantly called a racist or a troublemaker. You see, I would never be on the inside of these groups because I am too outspoken. I am not the like little kiss-ass minion that goes along and just carries my Marco Rubio flag or marches to these orders, because it's not these people that decide who to put up for president or whatnot. We pull all the money from the Republican convention to put up certain people. So why didn't they just put up one or two guys like the Democrats did? And they had either Hillary or Bernie, right? You know, there wasn't too many people to pick from. But no, the Republicans had to put Fatso Chris Christie. You know, who the fuck wants that guy? I mean, you know what? I am not to mean to be bigoted and stuff like that, but he is just a blowhard. He has no personality, no emotional IQ, and he's fucking way extremely to the left. I mean, he's a big socialist. And for that guy to come out and actually run for president was a joke. You got Marco Rubio on the same spectrum. His guy just completely is wishy-washy on the immigration and on the border, you know, and he is also a very open border, bigoted kind of guy. And nobody called these people racist, by the way, because Trump is not from the establishment and he's outside the box. You know, all of a sudden you're oh, he's such a racist. You know, he's such a racist that he put up, you know, Sarah Huckabee Sanders, who the LA Times had to make comment on her body, which was, by the way, very misogynistic of them. And the interesting thing about her is she didn't look like a fashion model, and she's a normal person. Of course, you know, she's had 5 kids in like 3 years, and I mean, it was unbelievable, like how anybody can even say anything about her weight, because you try carrying a 9-pound baby in your belly for 9 months, and then going back and having another one, and then having another one, and then you tell me how your body's going to look after all that, because you know what, even I, who was a model, you know, didn't have the perfect body after giving birth. But anyway, long story short, her priorities are elsewhere. It's not just on how she looks. It comes from within. So anyway, what our definition of beauty, you know, might differ from person to person. Who the fuck was that guy to even comment? But anyway, the left is very hypocritical. If you don't go along exactly with what they want, you're racist, you know, and this is a party of just anything goes. So here we have a Republican Party who actually wants to allow some growth in the middle class, who wants to, you know, kind of bring back business to our country, who wants to address the world of, you know, leaders and things that have not been addressed for a long time, because Obama was a complete wimp when it came to any kind of getting other countries under control. He just kind of went along with everything. I mean, to the point where he allowed Hillary to sell uranium to the Russians. So anyway, but you know what? Martha Stewart got more prison time and more social media attention by doing a little insider trading than Hillary Clinton got. But let's go ahead and set the story straight here. Because, you know, one of the things that I don't like is the fact that we have this two-party system, and we ran 2 people in the state of Florida against each other, Jeb Bush and Marco Rubio. And I remember everybody getting behind, mindlessly marching for Marco. And I said, what are you guys doing? He's not even known on a national level. Nobody knows who the fuck Marco Rubio is. He's 5 feet tall. And then he goes on live TV to make a comment about the president's hands being too small, implying that his penis was too little. I mean, the guy's a fucking moron, okay? And how he's holding a seat or a position is beyond me. You know, oh, because he's got the Latino votes, you know, and he puts a little fake accent on and stuff like that, and gets out there with his little 5-foot statue and just like, oh, I'm going to be the president. Ugh. You know, you make me gag, Marco. And everybody might kiss your ass and like you, but I don't. Anyway, we talk about Jeb Bush. You know what? Honestly, this guy pocketed so much campaign money. The only reason they ran all these people is so they could take the money out of the smaller races, the smaller people. So these districts that go without any representation for the Republican Party can get no money, so these Democrats can run unopposed. Why Mr. Bush can just flub and do a half-hearted president run and purposely, you know, make himself look like a doober to the media and purposely flub everything so he could just keep the campaign money and pocket it, at the expense of a lot of these districts going without any representation. The other day, I was hushed during a Republican Woman event because I addressed gerrymandering districts, which is a real thing and a real issue today in public politics. I could sell my soul to the devil right now. You guys cannot, for $1 million, make me believe that politics is real. Because you know what? Actually, I was told by insider people that you don't run for politics. We pick you. That, like me, I would never run for politics. In fact, the elites would have to pick who runs for office. And when they do, they run them in certain districts. So certain districts are deemed Democrat districts. They're gerrymandered just for that. And everybody knows that. So nobody puts much money in those races. And the only seats and the only people that have money are the people that that come along with money to bring to the table. So if you have money, you'll get more money from the GOP. But if you come in there with no money and they don't like you and they feel like there's somebody else is better, they'll endorse that one person. But it comes from not the little minions that are in the local area. It comes from at the very top. They basically plant a seed in these little fucking mindless puppets' heads, and they go, this is who we're supporting. This is who the party's supporting. You're going to get on board with this, or else you're going to be out. Okay, so that's just the way it goes. If you even think along the lines differently than any of these people in their group think, then you're immediately outcast, and they will make you feel very unwelcome, you know. And these people have just a little bit of money, and they act this way. So you can't imagine the people at the very top. They walk around with their little noses up in the air like their shit doesn't stink. As them calling Mr. Trump a racist, he's more of a real guy than those people behind the scenes pulling the puppet strings will ever be. Those people, mark my words. In fact, on my mother's grave, I will never, never, ever think you people are decent people. You guys totally went behind the scenes and like put up people like Bob Dole and put up like people like John McCain purposely to throw these elections to the other side. Okay, so purposely to set our country back a few decades. And knowingly what you were doing, you knew about the financial collapse and the lending, and you put all these people in power to screw us over, and you knew exactly what you were doing. This was no accident, okay? None of it's an accident, people. But they meet in private, and they have their little groups, and they just think it's really funny to destroy humanity at the expense of promoting these little groups like Antifa, you know, and using these mindless idiots to run around and scream racism, when behind the scenes these people that are actually doing it are the biggest racists known to mankind. They will never sit with these people that they use to collapse our government. So this whole fascist regime and all this bullshit, you know, let me tell you, name one country that had a socialistic economy, or absolutely, what do you want to call it, Bill, a communist country, that was successful, where the people really thrived and did well. It never really happened. And so we have a free market system, and what makes us wonderful and a place that people flock to come to be here. A lot of people kill themselves. They come from Haiti, and they come from Mexico, and they come from all over the country. And for us to sit there and leave the border open just so we can have a few fucking fruit pickers and a few million Mexicans to support, now that's racist, people. That hurts black people. That hurts Asian people. That hurts everybody that wants to come to this motherfucking country. And if you don't like my language, you can just go take your fucking body and plant it in front of somebody that you want to listen to. But you know what? I don't care. You're not my base. I do not for a single minute think you people are decent. I think you're behind the scenes. I think you're manipulating, and I think that you completely used and demonized the Tea Party people to the point that these poor people actually went to DC, and I was one of them, and we went to a rally, hold your feet to the fire, to get some immigration reform, waving our fucking tea bags, and not a single media camera was out there at that event. And a lot of us spent a lot of money to get out there. Our own money, by the way, and we didn't get paid to hold those fucking signs, and we thought we were doing the right thing for the American people. We were realizing that we were made to look like chumps, because behind the scenes you have the people like the Bushes who were branding the Tea Party movement as fucking racism, while you sat back there and you left the border open and you allowed all this to happen, and you allowed the terrorism to come into the country to destroy the middle class, so you could sit there and go say, oh, it's the Democrats' fault, when you were behind the scenes having a kumbaya moment with the other side. So you can go around and bash Trump all you want, but the fact is, at least somebody has the kahunas to do the right thing. Have a blessed Sunday, and fuck you to those people who don't do the right thing.